right, Bills fans, you guys have been great to me for many years. It's been a while since I've been doing Bills coverage. Really just not healthy, not able to juggle everything. But I'm finally back. And so I'm covering my Dolphins as I usually do, all out. But I got the energy on the side to now get into other teams. And I got to get back to you Bills fans. I don't know if anyone's going to be watching me. It's been a while since I've done your Bills stuff. But you guys are phenomenal. And so I'm going to get back to covering your stuff, especially because this Thursday night, I'm going to go to the game live to see this huge matchup. And I think it's going to be an extraordinary game. So I'm getting into the Bills 34-28 victory today. I thought it was going to be more like 31-17, 31-14, I think. Is that what I said on Tommy at Mafia Sports Report, our AFC East shakedown. So it was a little bit more competitive than I thought. I was watching the Dolphins game. My little son was watching some of that, but then he was watching the red team versus the blue team. Your guys on the side screen. I was going back and forth. And I remember him saying, red team's winning. I'm like, what? He kept saying, red team's winning for like the first half. And then he kept saying penalties. But then it turned around. He says, I'm switching teams now. I'm going to go to the Bills. I said, you can go to the Bills for this game, but you remember you got to stay with the Dolphins. So overall, Bills won. They were home. They should have. Arizona is not a good team. I mean, they're feisty. Murray makes things difficult. He's just a scrambling freak, and he kind of makes problems for stuff. But I just don't feel like they're a team that can really deliver at this stage. So the Bills getting the victory. It's usually ugly week 1. So they'll have a short week coming to Miami. It's not going to be in the sweltering sun. It'll be a night game. Prime time is going to be huge. So obviously, if you haven't seen me before, or if you have and you remember, this build that you have on offense is what I kind of prescribed and designed for you guys 3 to 4 years ago when I started covering you. And it just really felt different this game. I mean, obviously the score wasn't happy. You'd want to see it in a bigger blowout. But I never felt really nervous. A little bit in the beginning, but I felt like this team, the way they did things, there wasn't that rush, that drive to throw the football, to be hang from your tail feathers and just chuck and duck into the wind. I felt like there was a stability, and I felt even though Allen had that one where he held on to him, a little bit shades of old Allen, and there was the fumble. The rest of the game, I felt very stabilized when I was watching you guys. And I was impressed with the run game, sticking to the run game, even when you're only up a couple of points in the fourth quarter. And Allen obviously is a stud. There's no doubt about that. Allen had 2 rushing touchdowns. He did 2 throwing touchdowns. He ended up on the day with 232 yards. Not a ton of yards. We only threw 23 times with 18 completions. 10.1 average was not bad. 2 sacks, but 137 rating. Cook had 19 for 71, 3.7. Allen, I said, tacked on another 40. Ray Davis actually looked like a little bit of a surprise rookie. He had 3 for 13, had a nice little catch in there. Ty Johnson was injured, but this run game felt good. I mostly saw success in the offensive line, and that's the critical part. I still think that the offensive line creates the platform and foundation for a team. And as the offensive line stays healthy and is able to be that foundational piece, it will create consistency. And as the offensive line struggles or breaks down due to injuries, there tends to be more and more consistency. So the Bills looked really good. I'm going to get into your offensive line tape, but it was really set on the run game. It was also the pass rush was actually unbelievable. And I think it would have even been more devastating if it wasn't for Murray being the scatterbug that he was and just kind of breaking out of it. He only had 161 yards on 31 attempts, 21 catches, 5.2 yards per attempt, 4 sacks, 91 rating. But he tacked on another 57. There's some big runs in there that kind of made things look maybe worse than they were. But on the defensive side, I felt like there was a lot of missed tackles, especially early. And against Miami, you don't want to do that. I mean, and against anyone, but a team like Miami, I think that can hurt you this week. I'm going to go back over the film, but I thought that was the one negative I saw was the missed tackles. Murray's very difficult. When you're charging after him, you have to hold your lanes, and it kind of reduces stuff. Still, you end up with 4 sacks on the day. Rousseau was ridiculous. What a find. End of the first round. A lot of people were kind of poo-pooing him. I think you have one more year on a 5th-year contract. This kid's going to get a gigantic contract. 3 sacks, 1 forced fumble, 2 QB hits, and 6 tackles. That is an insane day. And as a Dolphin fan, considering what we have in the offensive line, I'm very, very concerned. Von had a little bit of a day himself. He had 2 tackles, and he had 1 sack. So there was a lot of pressure being generated, at least from the edges. I got to go check on the inside. And then tying together your defense, Terrell Bernard, 11 tackles, 10 solo. Milano's out, but he played tremendous. Obviously, Milano was there with him, and it seems like that's going to happen at the end of the season. It's going to be a phenomenal duo. They are able to run inside, too, and take a little advantage of some of those light looks you have. James Conner, I think, is a very underrated back. On a different team, I think this guy would be a true star. I think he's like an underground star because you watch what this guy does with very little. He is such a darn good back. Cook, as I said, I liked what he did. I'm a little uncertain, though, of him in the red zone. He's a little small for that. I understand he can get there and pick his way through. A little bit bigger back in the mix, I think, would be nice. I don't know. That's just my early goings. But Cook was really, really good. There were some plays where he just hit that hole, jump, cut to another hole, and take it up the middle. He is a tough back. And again, for my Dolphins, that's the one way you beat them. You rush inside. You look at Jacksonville this week. They gave a lot of problems to our defense because they were able to run inside. Hopefully he won't do that this week. Shakir, my man Tommy at Mafia Sports Report, raved about Shakir as a rookie. This guy is becoming a player. He was so many runs. It was like 3 runs where he got blasted and he kept fighting for more. The TD was a beautiful TD. And it was a 3rd and 14, which was a critical down. He got the ball, drove up like 2, bring it to like 2 yards. It was like 3rd and 2 or something. Then Allen ran to the edge and then he got Coleman. Coleman looks good. That was a nice catch. Had a few good plays. And I think it was 4 for 51, 12.8. 5 targets overall, so he was consistent. So I think right here, and Curtis Samuel had a little bit of action, 250, nothing big, but the ball was spread out to everyone. And I think that's the key. I think that Allen tends to get more laser focused on guys and forcing the football when you had that one guy who has to be fed. I think this is a better setup for Allen, both with the running game, taking some of the meat off the table, forcing the defenses to focus on that, spreading the ball out where he doesn't have to play hero ball, especially driving it to one guy. Kincaid had 1, Davis had 1, Samuel 2, Scatling 1, Knox 1, Hollins had a nice touchdown catch for you 2, Cook 3, Shakir 3, Coleman 4. I think that's the kind, sorry, my dog's bark, I got to do some cuts here. That's the kind of offense I think that's going to settle you down. To me, you put 34 points on, and it wasn't big splash stuff. The biggest problem I've seen with the Bills over years is that they go so hog heavy on Allen, and it always feels like they're nervous. They get a little behind. They got to press, and then problems come. So I think this whole framework looks really good for the Bills. I do got to see how they play out against my team and other teams. But I love this framework for you, even though I don't really like it for me as a Dolphins fan. Special teams were a problem. Kickoff return for touchdown, a kickoff that went out of bounds. Injuries, like I said, Ty Johnson, although Ray Davis looked good. Teron Johnson, he's your nickel guy, and you're going to need him next week. Benford, I like Benford a ton, but he's not fast. And so Hill and Watt, you could see, we struggled all week, but it was 3 big plays, 3 that were on the table. 1 we missed, 2 huge ones that really turned this game around. And so it'll be very interesting to see. I'm still uncertain of your safety group to see how they play. But overall, good start to the season. And this is a big week on a short week. And that's really it. I think you guys are doing well. The injury is a forearm injury to Teron Johnson. Hopefully it's not a broken arm. It's a bruise, and maybe he can play this week or play soon enough. But Bills are on their way. As again, my man from Tommy Amafi Sports Report said, Bills are the only team in the league that don't take care of their home field advantage. This style of running, this build that you have, is going to take advantage of it. It's going to also take advantage of a lot of stuff, set Allen up, I think, for a very good in a very good framework, and even this defense, because all this running is going to get these games over quicker and keep this defense fresher till the end of the season. What will it amount to? Will this continue, or will you go back to fun and gun at some point? I don't know. But week 1, congratulations, Bills fans. See you in 1 week. I want my team to win. I don't want to wish you guys to lose, though. But we'll see. Big game, prime time. Hopefully, it's just you and me fighting for first place, and not the Jets, and certainly not the Patriots. I can't believe we beat the Bengals today. So, Curtis saying, thanks for stopping by, guys. I'm going to have a lot more coverage for you. I've appreciated what you've done over these years. And again, I am sorry I haven't been able to get the content to you after all your support. But it has been treading water until a few months ago. And now that I'm back, I am back. So Curtis saying, be well, go Fins. Curtis out. Go Fins. I'm not supposed to say go Fins. I forgot. I'm doing my usual go Fins. Anyway, you know what I mean. Start building your own online sports book today by getting signed up with aceperhead.com service that'll allow you to book action on sports from all around the world.